Hi, second graders. Welcome back to your TV classroom. Today is Friday, February 19th. Whew, that is a mouthful. I'm wondering how you're doing today. Mr. Kevin, how are you doing today? What zone are you in?
I am in the green zone, solidly.
Ooh, what makes you solidly in the green zone today?
You know when you get a good night's sleep and then you have a great dinner before and you get to do something fun with your spouse or your significant other, your family members? Yeah, all that.
So you're just feeling content and happy. I love it.
Yeah. How about you, Mrs.
How am I doing? Oh, well, I'm in the green zone.
Excellent.
I had an okay night's sleep. Oliver did wake me up at 4 o'clock this morning. Was not too thrilled about that. So it's made my brain a little bit foggy today, but that's okay. I'm still in the green zone and he's really cute. So it's okay. I got extra snuggles and those are always good.
Cute goes a long way, doesn't it?
It does go a long way. Friends, how are you today? And have you asked anyone lately how they are? That's something that's really important to show empathy and that you care, is to not only tell how you feel, but also ask, like Mr. Kevin asked me, how someone else is feeling. Let's get going with our Fact Fun Friday. What is 17 plus 19? The answer is, hang on, I have to get my pen on. The answer is 36. Da-da-da. How did I figure that out? If you're sitting at home going, that's okay. What I did is I said, well, what's 7 plus 9? And then I thought, I don't know 7 plus 9. I know 7 plus 7 is 14. And 7 and 9 is 2, so 14, 16. And I know 10 plus 10 is 20. So 20 plus 16 is 36. That's how I figured it out.
Way to break it down.
Yeah. What's 9 plus 18? Well, 9 plus 18 plus 2 is 20. And I took 2 away from the 9, so that leaves me with 7. So the answer is 27. What's 23 plus 9? 32. What's 18 minus 7? Do you know? It's 11. What is 26 minus 7? What I'm thinking in my head right now is, well, if I take 6 away from 26, I get to 20. And then I have 1 left, so it's going to be 19. Ta-da! We did it. All right, friends. Today we're refining our skills. We've been working with skip counting and using place value to solve problems where we need to add or subtract 3-digit numbers. So today you're going to show us everything you know. We're going to do some of it together and then you're going to do the rest on your own. If you do not understand this at this point, you need to tell your teacher. You need to let them know. I did that lesson with Mrs. Wally and I really am still struggling and I need some help. And that's a really important thing to do as a second grader. I've had to do that working at school right now because I'm going to school for my master's and I've had to ask my teachers for some help. That's why they're there. So make sure to ask for help if you're not understanding. I wish you could ask me, but you can if you email me. I'll answer, but we're not in the same room together or on the same Teams call together, and so you can't ask me directly. So make sure to talk to your teacher if you're not understanding. Skip count by 5s. Here we go. 105, what comes next? 110, what comes next? Yep, 115, 120, 125, 130. Ooh, you're getting fast at that. Now we're going to skip count by 10s from 105. 105. So what place value is going to go up this time? Yeah, the 10th place. 115, 100. Now, I want to say 120, but that's not right because we're skip counting by 10s. So that's going to go up by 1. 120. That's going to go up by 1. 130, 140, 150. Now we're going to skip count by hundreds. Yes, Mr. Kevin?
Oh, now wait.
Oh, Mr. Kevin. Oh, I did it. I said not to do it, and I did it anyway, didn't I?
Yeah.
Friends,
I always look at that and I think, well, it ends in a 5, so if you're
it has to
counting by
stay at
tens,
5.
it's got to stay at 5.
Do you know why I didn't do that, friends? Because I said 120, and so that's what my hand wrote. Hi, Mrs. Wally, kiss your brain. It's okay, brain. You've got this. Notice I made a mistake, but I didn't talk bad to myself.
No.
I said, that's okay. You can do this. Because everybody makes mistakes. And when it gets really hard is when you start saying, oh, you're, because you get mad at yourself for making a mistake. Don't get mad at yourself. You say, okay, I made that mistake, but that's okay. Brain, you've got this. I know you can do it because I know you're a strong mathematician. That's what we do when we make a mistake. Okay? So now we're going to look at hundreds. Now just the hundreds place is going to change by 1. 205. What comes next? 305, 405, 505, 605. Very good. Okay, here's a story problem. Get your whiteboards ready. Teresa has a box of raisins. Now, you might be tempted to just pick an answer. We're not picking an answer right now. You're going to show the work and then pick the answer. You should never, on a math problem that's multiple choice, just click an answer. Ever. Do you hear me? Never, ever. You always do the math first on a piece of paper and then find the answer that matches. Promise? Promise. Okay. Teresa has a box of raisins. She eats 10 of them. Now there are 190 raisins in the box. How many raisins were in the box at the start? Yes, Mr. Kevin? Mr. Kevin's laughing.
I was just thinking, who counted a whole box of raisins?
190 raisins. I bet on the box it said 190. You know, it'll tell you how many are there.
Okay.
Okay. So, what's our question? How many raisins were in the box at the start? Okay, let's find the information we have to work with here. Teresa has a box of raisins. She eats 10 of them. Now there are 190 raisins in the box. What information do we have? Yeah, that Teresa eats 10 raisins. And now there's 190 raisins in the box. That now part's important because it means at the concluding of her eating, there's 190. So go ahead and solve. What are you going to do to figure out how many raisins are now in the box? You might think about using one of these to help you. What do you know? What are you trying to figure out? We had a whole box of raisins. She eats 10 of them, and now there's 190 left in the box. How many started in the box? Give you about 30 seconds.
We know 2 parts.
We do know 2 parts, Mr. Kevin. We know that she eats 10, and we know that there's 190 left. We don't know how many started in the box. What do we do when we know 2 parts? The equation would look like this to match the problem. So how do we figure that out? Yeah, we do 10 plus 190. And what is 10 plus 190? It's 200. So what's our answer? C. C is our answer. Carlos counts aloud and says these numbers. What number is Carlos skip counting by? So we're looking for the number that's changing. Are you ready? We're going to say it out loud. Here we go. 284, 384, 484. It's important to say it out loud. It helps you identify the pattern. 584, 684, 784, 884. What place value was changing when I was counting and when you were counting? Yeah, the hundreds place was changing as we were counting. So, what number is Carlos skip counting by? 2s, 5s, 10s, or hundreds? Hundreds, because the hundreds place changed by 1 each time. Great. Which sets of numbers show skip counting forward or backward by 5s? So we're going to go through and read each one and decide, is this skip counting by 5s forward or backwards? And then decide. Let's look at A. Let's say it out loud together. 590, 595, 600, 605, 610, 615. Is that skip counting by 5s? Why do you think it is? Mr. Kevin, why do you think it's skip counting by 5s?
Because each subsequent number, did I say that right?
That's fine, yeah.
Yeah, it increases by 5.
It does, you're right.
In the ones place.
Yeah, it does. And 5s are that tricky one, right? Where it goes from a 5 and then a 0, a 5 and then a 0, a 5 and then a 0.
So the 1s and the 10s change every other time.
Every other time they're skipped, they're changed depending on, because each group of 2 groups of 5 makes a group of 10. Mm-hmm. So A, yes, A is skip counting by 5s. Okay, let's look at B. 845, 855, 865, 800. Do I need to go any more, friends? Is this skip counting by 5s? No. What place value is changing? The 10s. So that one's not going to work. 80, 75, 70, 65, 60, 55. Is that skip counting by 5s? It is. It's just going down. Actually, I'm going to do it on the number line. It's just going down instead of up. Wait, no, I did that wrong. Down. For you guys, I'm trying, friends, it's like being in a mirror. Is that going, that's going up. So it's going down instead of up. There we go. That was tricky. So we've got 80 and then we're subtracting 5 for 75, 70, 65, 60. How I know is I can go this way and go 55 to 60 is 5, 60 to 65 is 5, 65 to 70 is 5. So this is one of our answers, C. What about this one? 390, 395, 400, 405, 410, 415. Is that skip counting by 5s? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just like A, isn't it? Except for they started at 300 instead of 590. Mm-hmm. So D is a yes. E, 455, 555, 655, 755, 855, 955. Is that skip counting by 5s? No. So our answers are A, C, and D. In multiple choice, sometimes you can have 1 right answer, 2 right answers, or even 3 right answers. You just have to do the math to know. All right, last problem. Ellen counts 349 stickers. Joseph counts 100 more stickers than Ellen. How many stickers does Joseph count? Explain how you know. So what's happening in this problem? Ellen's counting stickers, Joseph's counting stickers, and Joseph counts more. Okay? What is our question that we're trying to figure out in this problem? How many stickers does Joseph count? Okay, what information do we need to know? Or what information do we know to help us solve it? Ellen counts 349 stickers. Joseph counts 100 more. Go ahead and solve. I'm going to give you about 2 minutes because this one can be a little bit complicated. So go ahead and solve. friends, I'm going to start by drawing a picture. I know that Ellen, this is Ellen, E for Ellen, is 349 stickers. I know that Joseph counts more, and I know that his amount that's more is 100. That kind of looks like this. 349, and then Joseph counts 100 more. So what's my equation to solve this? 349 plus 100 equals, what does it equal? You don't need to count 100 more. You can just add the 100 to the hundreds place. What do we get? 449 stickers. So Joseph counts 449 stickers.
Love that bar model.
Isn't that great? I love bar models. Bar models have opened up the world of story problems to me because I can draw and see what's happening in the story, and then I know what I need to do to solve it. It like puts the math on the paper, and it's not this like, what do I need to do story problem. It's great. We're gonna work more and more with bar models this year. All right, friends, here's your assignment. You're gonna do page 388. That's the second page of the blue pages in your refine section. So you're gonna tell us what you know on these problems. If you have time and you wanna go back to page 387 and do the ones we just did as well, you can do that if you'd like. Today, we refined our skills with skip counting and using place value to solve problems where we needed to add or subtract 3-digit numbers. We understood the problem, we chose the best strategy, we solved the problem, and we explained our thinking. Excellent job. Mr. Kevin, tell them how they can contact us here at the TV Classroom.
Sure, if you have questions, comments, concerns, you can email us, and if you can't do that or need some help with it, ask an adult. tvclassroom@tacoma.k12.wa.us, or you can mail us at TV Classroom, 601 South 8th Street, Tacoma, Washington, 98405.
Thank you, Mr. Kevin. Now, friends, it's time for your break. During your break, you need to make sure you have your materials ready for your time with Miss Oslin. You need to use the restroom, wiggle your legs, get a drink of water, and then be back and ready to learn when she comes on. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you next time. Bye.
Rules. 1. You have 10 seconds to pick your crewmate. 2. A new timer will appear with an exercise for the crewmate you picked. 3. You will get 10 points for each correct crewmate and exercise you choose. 4. If you pick the imposter, you will lose all your points. 5. See how many points you can get. Good luck.
Hi, second graders. Welcome back from your break. I see that you are so responsible and gathered your learning materials. You have your writing notebook, your pencil, and your learning buddy. Go ahead and take your notebook and your pencil and put them off to the side. You won't need that until you begin your independent work. You can hold on to your learning buddy if they help you focus. Now, we have been working really hard to find an independent workspace, both at school and wherever you are when you're learning remotely, which means away from me and away from your teacher. And we thought about some questions that you can ask yourself when you're finding your independent workspace to make sure that it's just right for you. First question is the seat comfortable? Is it too small or too big? Is the atmosphere good? Is it dry and not too warm or too hot? Is it quiet enough, or can you concentrate? Sometimes I like a little background noise. If it's too quiet, I can't really concentrate and my mind starts to think about something else other than what I'm supposed to be focusing on. Also think about, is it an area where you won't be interrupted frequently, so you can just sit down, be efficient with your time, and get your work done? And is there proper lighting so that you can see your book or your writing materials? We also talked about making sure that you have your materials that you need before you sit down to work. So if you're going to be writing, you have your writing notebook, you have your pencil, you have your learning buddy. If you're going to be reading, you have your books, more than one, and you have your learning buddy if you want them, so that you can sit down and read for the whole time without having to get up to go get anything else. I showed you my workspace. It's comfortable, it's dry, I have all the materials that I need, I don't get interrupted, I can focus. And hopefully you've had an opportunity to find a space that works for you. If you haven't, ask an adult to help you. Say, I need a space where I can do my independent work, and see what they can do to help. Okay, today we're learning that writers record important events in their lives so that they are not forgotten. This is something that you and I can do as writers when we're not sure what to write about. We can go back to these important events that we've recorded and write about them. Also, to write about events so that we don't forget about them, because as time goes on, if we're not thinking and reminding ourselves about the special events in our lives, then it's really easy to forget. We're going to do this with a book called Fireflies, written and illustrated by Julie Brinklow. And this is a book that we as a TV classroom read at the beginning of the year quite a few times. Now, if you're new to us or you haven't had an opportunity to read Fireflies, I'll tell you that this is a story written and illustrated, like I said, by Julie Brinklow, and it's about her special memories of catching fireflies as a kid. It's something that she wrote down so that she would never forget how magical this event or these events were. The story or narrative recounts a personal event using a lot of detail and description to describe the actions. We need to look at the front cover and think about what Brinklow's story will be about. And also notice that she's the illustrator. She wrote the story and she drew the story. Where do you think Julie got her ideas? Take some think time. Turn and tell your learning buddy what you're thinking. Gus, I think that this is an actual real experience or event that Julie Brinklow had as a child, because if I were to try to write about fireflies, but it's not something I've experienced, I don't think I would do a very good job because I don't know much about it. So I would either have to do some research or have had some experience with fireflies. Now, as we read, we're going to pay close attention to how Julie Brinklow includes a lot of details in her pictures and in her words so that she remembers everything about this event. And then as a writer, you are going to think about what are some events in your life that you can write about, including details, so you don't forget them. On a summer evening, I looked up from dinner and through the open window to the backyard. It was growing dark. My treehouse was a black shape in the tree, and I wouldn't go up there now. But something flickered there a moment. I looked, and it was gone. It flickered again over near the fence. Fireflies. Don't let your dinner get cold, said Mama. I forked the meat and corn and potatoes into my mouth. Please, may I go out? The fireflies. Mama smiled and Daddy nodded. Go ahead, they said. Okay, now right here, this is making me think about when I was a kid and I didn't have fireflies, but I could hear kids outside playing and I was inside eating dinner and all I wanted to do was go outside and play. So I've had a very similar experience where it's like, please, can I go? The kids are playing. And my mom and dad would both go, fine, go. So think about you. Have you had an experience like this? Take some think time. Turn and tell your learning buddy about your experience that you're thinking about. Now, you and I were able to think about our own personal experiences that we could write down and remember because Julie Brinklow did such a nice job of including details. She even told us what they're eating for dinner that made me remember about a time when I wanted to go outside and play. I ran from the table down to the cellar to find a jar. I knew where to look, behind the stairs. The jars were dusty and I polished one clean on my shirt. Then I ran back up 2 steps at a time. Holes, I remembered, so they can breathe. And as quietly as I could, so she wouldn't catch me doling them, I poked holes in the top of the jar with Mama's scissors. Now the words here that she's used to describe what's happening make the memory really real for me, where they talk about the dusty jars. I can picture a dusty jar. And then the character running up the steps 2 at a time because they're so excited. And I can see it in the picture also. She included that detail in the picture. That's something that authors and illustrators can do to make this story seem really real for the reader. The screen door banged behind me as I ran from the house. If someone said, "Don't slam it," I wasn't listening. I called to my friends in the street, "Fireflies!" But they had come before me with polished jars, and others were coming behind. The sky was darker now. My ears rang with crickets, and my eyes stung from staring too long. I blinked hard as I watched them. Fireflies. Blinking on, blinking off, dipping low, soaring high above my head, making white patterns in the dark. We ran like crazy, barefoot on the grass. Catch them, we cried, grasping at the lights. Here's some more details that really make it feel like I'm there with them. I can imagine myself running barefoot on the grass. I can imagine the fireflies blinking on and blinking off. And I have another memory of a time when we had a meteor shower and I sat outside to try to see all of the shooting stars and I didn't want to blink. And so I was just looking up and it made my eyes sting, just like Julie is describing. Suddenly, a voice called out above the others, "I caught one!" And it was my own. I thrust my hand into the jar and spread it open. The jar glowed like moonlight and I held it in my hands. I felt a tremble of joy and shouted, "I can catch hundreds!" Then we dashed about, waving our hands in the air like nets, catching 2, 10, hundreds of fireflies, thrusting them into jars, waving our hands for more. The detail that she included in that picture, do you see how many fireflies there are? It looks like hundreds. Then someone called from my house, "It's time to come in now." And others called from other houses, and it was over. My friends took jars of fireflies to different homes. I climbed the stairs to my room and set the jar on a table by my bed. Mama kissed me and turned out the light. "I caught hundreds," I said. Daddy called from the hallway, "See you later, alligator." "After a while, crocodile," I called back. "I caught hundreds of fireflies." In the dark, I watched the fireflies from my bed. They blinked off and on, and the jar glowed like moonlight. But it was not the same. The fireflies beat their wings against the glass and fell to the bottom and lay there. I shut my eyes tight and put the pillow over my head. They were my fireflies. I caught them. They made moonlight in my jar. But the jar was nearly dark. I flung off the covers. I went to the window, opened the jar, and aimed it at the stars. Fly! Now this seems really real. Our character is covering their head because they're so upset that their jar is dimming because the fireflies are starting to die in the jar. So the character goes over and lets the fireflies out and says, fly. Then the jar began to glow green, then gold, then white as the moon, and the fireflies poured out into the night. Fireflies, blinking on, blinking off, dipping low, soaring high above my head, making circles around the moon like stars dancing. I held the jar dark and empty in my hands. The moonlight and the fireflies swam in my tears, but I could feel myself smiling. Julie uses details and emotions to share an important event in her life that she doesn't want to forget. One place where writers can keep their special memories is in their writing notebook. You can do that as a writer. You can keep them in your writer's notebook with descriptions and pictures. And that's what your independent writing is going to be today. I want you thinking about how we learned that writers record important events in their life so they are not forgotten. And it doesn't have to be a big event. It can be something that seems like a small moment, like one night catching fireflies. Or I talked about wanting to go outside and play as a kid. I remember that. That wasn't a huge event, but it's an important one. Also thinking about, I saw a meteor shower one time, and that's not a huge event, but it's really important. And I could write about how I felt. I could include descriptions about, was it cold outside? What did the sky look like? What did the shooting stars look like? How did it make me feel when it was all over? Now, you are going to gather your materials. You're going to gather your writing notebook that hopefully you already have, and your pencils and your crayons and your learning buddy. And you're going to do some really important thinking about what are some events in your life that you can write about so they're not forgotten. Let's do that thinking right now before I send you off. Turn and tell your learning buddy about an important event in your life that you are going to write about so that it's not forgotten. Gus, I can write about the time I learned how to ride my bike without holding onto the handlebars. I remember riding up and down the street with my friend. It was a hot summer day, and I remember feeling scared, but also really brave that I was going to try it, and I was really proud of myself when I finally figured it out. And I can feel the wind on my face. I can feel the heat. I could write about that. Now, second graders, you have an idea about an important event in your life that you are going to write about so it's not forgotten. And you're going to continue to gather these ideas in your writing notebook as we finish out our school year. Now, if you would like to send us your important event or events that you're collecting in your writing notebook so that you don't forget about them, Mr. Kevin's going to tell you how you can send it to us here at TV Classroom.
Yes, second graders, you can send them to TV Classroom at tacoma.k12.wa.us. That's via email. If you need help from an adult, that's okay. And we'd also love to read about your memories. You can send them via mail, and guess what? The teachers will mail you back.
We will.
TV Classroom, 601 South 8th Street, Tacoma, Washington, 98405.
Thanks, Mr. Kevin. All right, second graders, now is the time for our affirmation. This is the time when we get to say positive things before we go off and do our strong, independent reading and writing. So your affirmation today is, I am a strong, independent learner. Say that out loud. I am a strong, independent learner. Excellent job today, second graders. Thank you so much for reading and thinking and feeling with me today. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I look forward to seeing you back here next time in our TV Classroom. Bye.
Hey kids, we want to see your work. Just send your pictures and your stories to TV Classroom, 601 South 8th Street, Tacoma, Washington, 98405.